Good afternoon. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Invitation to a Conversation. I'm Pamela Bailey. Today, my guest is a two-term mayor, retired Air Force, and the first African-American mayor in Brunswick, Georgia. Mayor Harvey is a native of Brunswick, Georgia. He received his undergraduate in Information Systems Management from the University of Maryland in 1983, and his master's degree from Troy University in 1993. Mayor Harvey was elected to the Brunswick City Council in 2003 and served as a commissioner for the North Ward for 10 years. He was elected as the first African-American mayor of Brunswick in December 2013. Mayor Harvey serves on the board of the Boy Scouts, Coastal Area Action Authority, Chamber of Commerce, Convention Visitors Bureau, and numerous other boards. In addition, he is a member of the 14 Black Men at Glen Incorporated, and an organization which provides leadership training to rising sixth grade African-American male students and mentors them throughout their progression to completion of college. Mayor Harvey served in the United States Air Force and retired after 29 years of faithful service. He rose to the highest enlisted rank of Chief Master Sergeant, which is the top 1% of the total Air Force enlisted force. During his tours, he was assigned to Japan, Taiwan, Korea, Germany, England, Spain, Italy, Turkey, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and visited numerous others. Mayor Harvey's focus is on building a better Brunswick. This initiative has spun numerous interests in economic development and community involvement within the city. His interests outside of work include softball, golfing, reading, and touring. He is a member of Greater Works Than These Ministries. And now I introduce to you Cornell L. Harvey. Good afternoon, Mayor Harvey. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Ms. Bailey, for allowing me to be on your show to have a conversation.
Well, thank you for accepting my invitation to a conversation. I would like to start off this conversation. Were you born and raised in Brunswick, Georgia?
No, I was not. I was not born here. I was born in Tallahassee, Florida. As a matter of fact, I was born at FAMU University Hospital. And then I came to Brunswick with my parents when I was 6 years old. I started school at Perry Elementary School. From there, I went to Risley Elementary School, then Burroughs Millette Junior High School, Risley High School, and eventually graduated from Glen Academy.
Glen Academy alumni, okay. In your bio, it says that you attended college and in the military. Did you attend college before your military career, during, or after?
No, I attended college during my career. After I joined the military right after high school. And while I was in, they were asking for people to go to school, and I knew to get promoted, I had to get more education. So I tried my best to take some classes, and then finally I got into this, what the Air Force called bootstrap program, where they will let individual out for a year to finish their degree. You have to have at least 2 years of college. So I did that, and I went down to the University of Maryland, went to College Park, stayed there and completed my degree in 1983. And then later on, I completed my master's degree while I was in Germany through the university, to Troy University.
Okay, your military, what was your military, you said your military duties was information systems management. What was your job and duties?
Well, I started out as an administrative clerk. When I joined the military, my recruiter asked me what did I want to do. They asked me, he said, do you want to travel? I said, yes, I want to travel. He said, well, if you become a clerk, you can travel because they need clerks everywhere. You know, you won't be limited to where you go. So I started out doing that. And while I was a clerk, I asked for special duty assignments. So I worked in the post office at one particular time. And then later on, as I moved up in rank, I became a Air Force Armed Forces courier, couriering top secret classified stuff all around the world, all around places where I need to go. And then after I got even higher rank, I went to this place called a Warrior Prep Center where they did wargaming, and I was working there. And later on, I went into logistics, and I ended up. No, I went to special ops, did that for a little while, and ended up later on my career in personnel.
So carrying classified material all across the country, that must have been very interesting.
It was, and there's some things that I probably can't talk about, but it was really interesting, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things that our country is involved in, and so I was always a history buff anyhow. So I visited places that I never thought I would visit as well. Places like Tel Aviv, Israel. I went to Egypt. I saw the pyramids. And just a few places like that, and it just was good for me to have that type of duty to be able to see those things too as well.
So when you finished your military career, you came back to Brunswick, Georgia?
Yes, when I finished basically when I finished my career, I took a job in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was into personnel. I was a human resources director. And shortly after I got hired, the economy fell out. And I was the last hired, so I was the first fired. And so I only stayed on that job for about a little more than 6 months. And came back home. And it took me from December to the next April to get a job working on Jekyll Island and personnel.
Okay, so you mentioned Jekyll Island and personnel. So that was a job prior to you becoming commissioner?
Yes, I took a job in 2001. I will never forget it. It was in April because in September, 9/11 hit. And I thought that I would be called back to active duty. However, I was not. I was ready to be called back. And that job in personnel at Jekyll Island Authority, it was really a good job. And I had good bosses who allowed me to do a lot of things and help a lot of people along the way. I remember at least helping this one individual. We had a policy about we would not hire felons, people who had a felony. But this individual came, he talked to me, and I said, look here, I said, we would take a chance on you. I said, but I said, your job is to make it so that we will hire others following you. So you got to do a good job. I said, so you're just not only working for yourself, you're working for people coming behind you as well. Individual came that he worked great. He stayed there 10 years or more. And so he just set the tone for, yes, people do deserve a second chance. So that's what we did. That's what I did to give an individual a chance.
When did politics become interesting to you?
Politics became interesting to me when I was in Germany back in 1985. My brother and I were sitting down talking about things, and we came back home on furlough and just looked at how things were going in the city and how it seemed like everybody was moving out to the county. The malls had started big time, and the stores downtown was looking kind of shabby, and like no one was really concerned about what's happening in the city. When I was in Germany and working in special ops, I traveled around quite a bit, and I traveled and had an opportunity to talk to different people in government. And so I just saw how they was doing things and how they took care of things. And I said, you know what, I'm going back home. I'm gonna become the mayor of my city. When I get back home, I'm gonna do that. So my brother was in the Air Force as well. So when he got out of the military, he said, I'll go out. He said, I will get out and I'll go home and I'll prepare it for you. So when you come in, it'll be ready for you to take and do that.
Well, that was nice.
Yes.
You said you were 10 years on city council as a commissioner. Has the job of commissioner evolved since you've been a commissioner?
Yes, when I first became commissioner, we were operating in silos. In other words, we were if you was in the North Ward commissioner, you only took care of things in the North Ward. You didn't really cross over and do anything in the South. You just let the South Ward commissioner take care of that part. And it's just and we was constantly like that. When something happened in the North, they say, well, call your North, call your commissioner, call your commissioner. Well, but since when I became mayor, I changed that up. I said, look, I want everybody to be concerned about everything in the city. I don't care what's in the north, south, east, west, or whatever. I say, if they call you, you take care. So that's how it has evolved from before. Before it was just you take care of your little area, but now we take care of the whole city. All commissioners take care of the whole city.
Okay. What was your ideal of commissioner before you got elected?
Was my idea what? Excuse me?
What was your ideal of being a commissioner before you were elected a commissioner?
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't really want to be a commissioner. I wanted to be the mayor when I first ran. I came back home and I went right to the board of elections and say, look, I want to sign up to be run for mayor. And they told me, well, do you qualify? I said, I guess I do. They said, well, have you been here? Have you lived here for a year? I said, no, not exactly. I said, but I'm a military person and my home of record is Brunswick. So therefore, it's like I'm living here for a year, living here. They say, no, you got to physically live here. I say, well, that's not what, it doesn't seem to be right because I'm a military. They said, no, you got to physically live here. So I didn't qualify. So then about a year later, one of the commissioners got ill and couldn't complete his term. And they asked me, would I run for his unexpired term? Some people asked me, and I said, I don't want to be commissioner. I want to be the mayor. So they said, well, why don't you become commissioner first? I said, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be the mayor. So after a few back and forth, I said, okay, all right, then I'll run for commissioner. And I ran for commissioner, I won. I haven't looked back since.
Can you remember anything that was on your agenda when you became commissioner?
It's been some time ago. I know, yes, well, one thing I say when that was to help alleviate the flooding in College Park. We constantly had flooding in College Park, and we also had L Street to get paved, and we tried to pave that. We didn't do any of those things, but we took a stab at it, and then we were trying to get a convention center downtown. It was just a number of things that we tried to do. I remember that. I remember when I was running for office, they wanted to know about putting air conditioned units on top of the Elks Club, and it's a big controversy. I said, well, they need air conditioning, so why not just put them where they need to be? And that got done. But it was a lot of zoning issues, and when I first became the commissioner, I was a little naive as to what it was, but there was a county commissioner, chairman of the county commission, his name was Cap Fendig. He told me, gave me some great advice. He said, Cornell, he said, what you do is when you get your packet, do your research. Come to the meeting, always come prepared. Don't come in just looking at stuff. No, come in, be prepared. And so that really helped me out more than anything. And I give him credit for telling me what I need to do to become a better commissioner.
Okay. And so finally, during your term as mayor, we got L Street fixed.
Yes, we did.
And we have not yet, have we started yet, or have we not yet started on College Park?
We have started on College Park. We have, it's going to be in phases. Also Magnolia Park, we got that done too. We're getting that done with the water and sewer upgrades and also paving the roads in there. I think we had neglected that for such a long time. I know we hadn't looked at those things for the 10 years I was a commissioner. So a lot of things we got done, and I'm so proud. Well, we got done mainly because we had a good commission.
Why did you want to be mayor?
I just thought I can help people. I thought can do a lot of things as the mayor that others didn't get done. Or what I just thought I could be a good leader. Being in the Air Force and becoming a Chief Master Sergeant, I was always leading. So, and I want to lend that to as well. And I realized too that as being a military man, the discipline that I have, a lot of things have been thrown at me while I was in the military, and that it afforded me opportunity when things got thrown at me as the mayor, to continue on and don't let it rattle me. But to lead, and you can't lead from the rear, you got to lead from the front. So I believed I could do that.
Was it important to you when you ran to be the first Black mayor of Brunswick, Georgia?
Well, it's kind of funny you say that, ask that question, because when I was little, a kid going through grade school, and looking at all the things that people accomplished and so forth, I always said I want to be the youngest person to do a certain thing, or I want to be the first person to do it, But as I kept getting older and older and older, I realized that I wouldn't be the youngest. So to be the first was something I really wish that someone else had been the first 10 years ago or 20 years ago, because I believe they could have paved the way for others to aspire to be that too. And I hope I am setting an example for others to follow me to become a mayor. Young boys of color, young girls, whatever, that they will want to do that. And I tell you a little something. I went to a function on Jekyll Island for STEM for young kids, and when I got up there to speak, they had me up to speak, and I was really new in office, and I said, well, I'm the mayor, it's not really not such a big deal, whatever. And this one little young Black kid stood up. He was about maybe 12, 13, and he said, sir, he said, please don't do that. He said, it is a great accomplishment. I said, and I look up to that, and I want to look up to that, and others around me look up to that. So please don't do it. Please don't say it's not that such a big deal. Say, because it is a big deal. Ever since that kid told me that, I will not downgrade the role of being the mayor.
Well, I think you did a pretty good job. We have our second African-American mayor that just got elected, Cosby Johnson.
Yes, kudos to him. Congratulations to him too.
Yes.
People said that I paved the way for others to come behind me. And, sometimes people blaze a trail and they blaze a little narrow trail. I'm happy, and hopefully I blaze a wider trail so not only him can follow, but others can come right along too as well.
It would be nice to see a female mayor.
It would be. Yes, it would be. And you know what? There's one in the future.
What is the duties of a mayor?
The duties of a mayor is primarily the same as a commissioner. However, I'm the spokesperson for the commission, and I'm the one that leads the commission and leads the city, and really being a cheerleader for the city, and holding responsibility for the city. When they sue the city, they sue the mayor. Okay. But that's a job that I take very seriously, and a job that I really have enjoyed being the mayor for the city of Brunswick.
Now, city of Brunswick is kind of different from other cities. Explain how you are just the mayor in the city and not the county of Glenn.
Okay, well, the county government, they have their government too, and they rule by a board of commissioners, which is 7 members, and they are district. They have districts. They have 5 districts, and they have 2 at-large commissioners. The city of Brunswick is basically 16,000 people. The county has about 85,000 people, and since Brunswick we have 2 wards, which are South Ward and North Ward, and then we have 1 commissioner, which is total. Our commissioner is 5 individuals, and the county has the city sits inside the county, and the county, I guess, in the state. So it's kind of similar to that. We are the lowest unit that we can go down to as far as government, and we are realizing that working together with the county, as the city goes, so does the county. As county goes, so does the city. But we are two separate governments, have two separate budgets. The county was really to do a lot of rural area, a lot of rural government in the country style, something like that. And the city does a lot of municipal, which is something urban, which right into the cities. And so it was very distinctive. However, we do work together to make the community even better.
What was your ideal, since you wanted to be the mayor, what was your ideal of being the mayor prior to becoming the mayor?
Well, I just felt, like I said, that I could help people a lot more being the mayor. And basically, a few people didn't think it was time for me to become the mayor. And they decided that people that I know, they decided to run somebody against me and they asked me to not run and told me to wait. And I said, well, maybe the other person need to wait. I think that I can do a good job. I really felt that my military background and my training and my mentorship while I was on Jekyll Island helped lean me to become a better candidate. I just felt that I could do a good job, and a number of people believed in me that I could. So because I did get the vote of confidence to do that, and for my second term, even more so because I ran unopposed, which was really good. And the previous two mayors who ran who was mayor and ran for re-election, they always had somebody who opposed them.
Oh, okay. What was your agenda for your first term as mayor?
Well, agendas are something. It's like a plan that you want to do something, but basically, the mayor has no agenda that he can press forward because it's what the commission decides to do. The mayor is only one vote in all of the dealings of the operations of the city. The person who runs the city mainly is our city manager. However, the commission decides as to what direction you would go in. So as an agenda, I really had no agenda, but when the commission sat down, we together formulated what we wanted to do, our goals for the coming year and so forth. We always had a retreat where we can go off and get together and formulate what we want to do for the upcoming year and so forth. So I always said while I was campaigning, I want to build a better Brunswick. And I think everybody thought that meant that I want to build some type of structure, some things that people can touch and feel and whatever. And quite naturally, yes, that's part of it. But I want to build integrity, and I want to build enthusiasm, and I want to build confidence in all the citizens that they say, I am Brunswick. I am Brunswick. And they feel confident of being Brunswick instead of saying, well, where's Brunswick at? Well, it's that little town between Savannah and Jacksonville. I want them to feel proud of being a Brunswick, and that so they can think differently, and when you think differently, you start doing things differently. Sometimes when we are where we are, because we feel that we can't go any further. But if you think even better, you build your mind up to even more. I mean, to be better, you become better. And that's what I meant when I said build a better Brunswick. I want Brunswick to see itself better than they did when I first got there.
So the terms is 4 years.
Yes.
So I guess your excitement for being mayor, you wasn't through when your first term was up. So why did you run for a second term?
Well, I ran because, like I said, I didn't finish some of the things that we want to do. What is so good about my 2 terms is that I served with the same commission that I started with. In other words, we all got reelected. So the same for 8 years, I had the same people on the board. And I think, I ran because, again, for reelection, because I thought that to continue on doing some of the things. However, there was a push at one time to maybe eliminate our term limits. Someone asked me that question before, well, why don't we get rid of term limits? And then the people vote you in or vote you out, so you could term out when they vote you. I said, well, you know what? I said, if I can't do something in 8 years, I don't need to be the mayor. I mean, if I can't get something done in 8 years, we need to have new ideas come in here, and new ways of doing things. So 8 years is enough. I said that when I was in my second year. As I get to my 8th year, I said, "Oh my God, I still want to do some more."
Right.
But I realized that yes, it's time for new ideas. I think that our new mayor-elect is going to do some great things. I have so much confidence in him, and he's a very confident individual to just do great thing to take Brunswick even higher to the next level, the next stage. And already we can see some of the things are happening. I just think he's just going to continue on with that too as well.
Mhm. How was the city when you became mayor, and how is the city different now?
Well, as I said, the confidence that they have in themselves has been built up. Now, we had a tragic incident that happened on the outskirts of Brunswick, but yet and still everybody assumed that it happened in Brunswick. And they had a trial here in Brunswick. But during that time, Brunswick showed the world what it is to be a small city in a deep rural South, but justice can be found here in Brunswick, Georgia.
Yeah,
So, excuse me?
yeah. So we're gonna get into that, but I want to go, since you've been mayor for so long, I want to go in the time frame.
I understand, but what I was trying to say is that Brunswick, I saw Brunswick then as in we were in small silos, and I saw our downtown was desolate, storefronts vacant, and nobody coming downtown. And at 6 o'clock in the evening, Brunswick rolled up and shut the lights off. Downtown did. It was like, oh my God. And people was not coming downtown. People were not doing anything. It just we've seen so fractionalized, but the city council got together and we decided what we were going to do. Our mission was to build up downtown, get something attractive downtown. And then we're going to start working on the south end, do something to attract stuff down the south end. And then we're going to do the inner city, like go straight down Norwood Street and do things right there. So, but as I tell people, government moves so slow. It takes us so long to get downtown moving. So we had to do a couple of things for Norwood Street and the south end. On the south end, I was so happy that the longshoreman built a state-of-the-art building there to show up the south end, which was really good. And also there were some small homes that were built down there too as well. But Norwood Street, we started doing things on Norwood Street. We did a lot of things. We put a lot of tools in our toolbox. Enterprise zone, tax allocation district, opportunity zone. We did a lot of those things so people could take advantage of coming here and getting started and have so many benefits to get started. From then to now, it was a slow process. And that's something that really I had to learn how to either appreciate or learn to understand that it's going to move slow. And things we may put in place, I might not see it until years later.
Since you've been mayor, we've had several hurricanes in the area. And the two most notable ones I think I can remember is Michael and Irma. And I remember we had one, and I can't remember what year it was, but I remember that everybody from Brunswick was stalled in Waycross, Georgia on exit 29. And it was like a 3 minutes standstill for several hours before we got to where we needed to be. how has the preparation changed over the years, getting us out of Brunswick, Georgia now?
Well, I think the preparation really hasn't changed as much as in people are understanding that when we ask people to evacuate, they need to evacuate immediately and not wait till the last minute. Sometimes people say, well, I'll just wait. I'll just wait. I can go a different route or whatever, and realizing that everyone seems to have the same idea about waiting to the last minute. So we put an evacuation order out, telling people to evacuate. When a hurricane comes, we come together, we go to the Emergency Operations Center, and we formulate our plans as to how we're going to deal with the hurricane and also the recovery and to pick up the debris. That's something that's big too. And we have all that coordinated. As a matter of fact, one of the hurricanes, I had to declare a curfew, to get people off the street, basically for their safety and the safety of others too as well.
Yes, I remember that. And there was a time where churches was shelters for hurricane season. Churches don't do that anymore, do they? Or do some of them still do that?
No, they really don't. I don't know. Sometimes churches have to be hurricane proof or hurricane to be able to sustain hurricane winds of whatever it is. And some of the churches are not that. So we encourage people to actually leave and go somewhere where the hurricane's not coming. And we provide the hurricane. We provide routes for people to get out, and we tell them exactly what's what. But you're right. Years and years ago, that people used to go to churches and stand there or whatever. But as you say, as you grow older, you know better. You start doing better. And probably back then we shouldn't have done that, but however we did. But now I think that we're aware of the categories that we have, and we are also aware of some of the churches, their capacity to withstand the categories that the hurricane comes through.
Okay. And one of the things that we're still in right now is the pandemic. When did Brunswick, now all the news channels and everything, and the previous president said that it came out in 2020. We were told it came out at the end of 2019. When did Brunswick first get the news of the pandemic, and what is the protocol for something like this? And what part does the mayor play in it?
Well, we got the news immediately after it came to Georgia. We heard about it, okay, but as far as the pandemic and doing something about it, we listened to our Association of Mayors conference, Georgia Municipal Association. So we were in contact with them, and they advised all the mayors exactly what can and cannot do. So we was aware of my authority and my power to do something about that. And working with our city manager, we did what we need to do. I don't think we had a mandate, but we did ask people to encourage people to wear their masks and social distance and wash their hands. And when it first came out, that's what we was doing. So, and it became fashionable for people to wear masks, and you can see nowadays they're wearing different types of masks. But we were spiked up for a long time for that. We lost a lot of we lost a lot of people, citizens, during that time. As a matter of fact, I lost an uncle due to COVID-19 pandemic. But all in all, we were on top of it, aware of it. As a matter of fact, I started doing, I know Ronald Reagan called it fireside chats or whatever. I called it was just chats with the mayor in my office to tell people where we were, what we was doing, to keep people informed of what's happening.
Now, where does Brunswick stand right now with the pandemic? Are we still on high alert? Is it going down? Is it almost gone, or where are we at now?
Well, I think we are at a standstill. I think I can't say it's almost gone because the new variants keep coming out. The Delta variants came out, and now the Oregon came out. So I really don't know. But we have a good coastal health district here who keeps us informed. You can always go onto the website. You can see exactly where Brunswick stands. I happen to be a member of that board, Coastal Health District Board. So I was constantly getting updates. And when I needed to get information out to people and I could get the Coastal Health District to come and give briefing, to come and do things. And also Coastal Health with Latanya Abbott came out and started giving vaccination when vaccinations came out. So it's like we were here to help our community, and we're always here to help our community. So, and I really attribute that to having relationships with the people who can do something. Excuse me.
Okay. Now let's move on to the monument.
Wow.
The monument was a big thing in Brunswick, Georgia. For those who don't know, the monument is a Confederate statue in Hanover Park. Why couldn't the citizens or the city commissioners, why couldn't they just vote to remove the statue? And where is the city on the monument now?
Well, the city did vote to move the statue, but we voted to move the statue pending the outcome of some other cases that were in litigation around the state of Georgia. One of the reasons why is because there's state law that says you can't move any type of monument, no matter what it is. But there were cases that really was similar to our case, that the statue did not belong to the city of Brunswick. It belonged to, as a privately owned statue that happened to be sitting in our park, and we never took ownership of it. What the commission wanted to do was to get a committee together and to ask for recommendations of what to do. We did that. We selected, I can't remember how many people, it was quite a bit, to give us information as to what we want to do. And what happened doing that, we had people on both sides to move it and people who said it should stay there. And a lot of history came out with that. A lot of passionate, they spoke passionate about, why it should stay there and whatever. And then people spoke passionate about why it should be gone. And they met numerous times, and before they can give us a recommendation of, I thought they needed to continue on with the conversation. They asked for a vote, they called for a vote, and they voted to leave the statue there and do contextualize another little something to contextualize with being there, such as, the reason why it's there, and also do something for African American or whatever in this area too as well, right along to the side of the statue. So with all that, I still felt that we had not actually, I think the conversation discussion was cut off too quickly, and when really they didn't have enough time to debate it. So I opened it up to the whole community, and I asked them to come before the city council, and they can express their thoughts about whether we need to remove it or let it stay. And it was really something to see people come in and speak passionate about that statue. And once that happened, we delayed our vote, and then we voted. It was 4-1 to remove the statue, pending the outcome of the other cases around the state of Georgia. However, right after that, we all got sued for doing that. And so we all got sued except for the individual who did not vote for it. So we won our case for when they tried to sue us. However, one of the cases, I think it was 3 cases that we were looking at before we decided to do anything. 2 cases came in back in several months ago. And then so we were still waiting on the last case to see what happened with that. And then matter of fact, the cases were won, the cities can move the statue, and that's what they did. And then just recently, as of I think October or November timeframe, that city won that case too. So we initiated action to have it removed, and so we are in the process now of having it be removed. And we're not trying to destroy the statue. There are people who really wants it and who will put it in a place of prominence. So, and we're going to facilitate that to have it removed.
It's not going to take the next 10 years to move it.
No, it's not. As a matter of fact, I think it should be moved hopefully before I get out of office, but if not, I know early in January it will be removed.
And to my understanding, isn't that statue not of a significant person during the time of war or in a armed service group? It's just an ideal of somebody's imagination of a figure of a Confederate person?
Yes, I believe so, but there's all kind of history about that. The Daughters of the Confederacy is the ones who own the statue. They raised money to put it there. And there were a number of statues around the country of the same one, and they were put in other cities too as well. But there's history. If you go back and look at all the information that came to the city during our request for information, and during the committee put together to committee meetings, you will see some of the things about the Confederate statue.
Okay, all right. And moving right along, now we're up to February 23rd, 2020. Ahmaud Arbery. How did you hear about that shoot? How did you hear about the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery?
Well, I'll tell you, when it happened, I read in the paper a little print that says African-American male shot in Satilla Shores, which is not in Brunswick, right outside of Brunswick. And it said further investigation or something to the fact. And I thought, so, okay, all right, they're gonna get to the bottom of whatever it is. And I didn't think nothing of it. And I think most of Brunswick community thought that they'll be investigated like it's supposed to be. And so later on, a couple of weeks later, a young man who I was mentoring, he came to me and he said, hey, he said, what are you doing about the shooting in Satilla Shores? I said, what? He said, what are you doing? I said, it's going to be taken care of. I saw in the paper, they put it in the paper, it'll be taken care of. He said, yeah, I know that. He said, but what are you doing? I said, what you mean? He said, well, what are you doing? You, the mayor, what are you doing? And it kind of challenged me and it kind of shocked me. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll look into it. And lo and behold, when I looked into it, it just blew my mind. And I got heavily involved. I got my Pastor Mark Baker, Mr. Cedric King, and our NAACP president, Mr. John Perry. We all came together. I said, look, we need to go see the DA, Miss Jackie Johnson. We need to go see her and find out what's going on. How come we don't know anything that's happening? We haven't heard anything else about this case. So we went to see her, sat down and talked with her, and she was saying that, basically everything was okay, and that she referred the case to a person, a DA in Waycross, and she think that nothing was different or whatever. So I was like, no, this can't be true, So and I said, well, why come you took so long to do anything? And they said, well, this. They gave us a roundabout. I asked the police chief, said, how come you didn't do it? How come you making an arrest? He said, well, I'm doing the job. Been here on a couple of days. He said, but there will be an investigation. I said, okay, all right. But they kind of pushed us off.
So back when I asked you, when we were talking about what's the difference between the city and the county government and what the city of mayor is over, because this happened in the county, yes, you couldn't be hands-on in the investigation or seeking out what happened to it.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it wasn't my police chief that was concerned about that. It was the police chief of the county and so forth. So therefore, and the county government had the investigation. It wasn't with the city government. But anyhow, we talked to Miss Jackie Johnson, and then she told me that Waycross DA Barnhill had it, and before too long. Now we asked Jackie Johnson, look, you need to get a press conference or something to tell this community what's going on. So she sent us a letter. She put a letter, I think she may have sent it to the press about, what was happening and so forth, what the investigation was. Shortly thereafter, a radio announcer received the tape. However, we didn't know the tape existed. A radio announcer received the tape, and shortly thereafter, he released that tape. And when he released that tape, the whole world saw exactly what. And it was wondering how come these individuals wasn't arrested. So all the leaders in the city, all the leaders in the community in Brunswick and Glenn County and around, we all came together and went to the Emergency Operations Center. We needed to talk about what we're gonna do. And I got an opportunity to talk. I told them about the book I read, Blood at the Root, about how things were then and how this thing is looking like the same as that, dealing with Forsyth County. So I told them we need to do something now. We can't let this thing go on any longer, because if you don't, somebody's gonna tear this place up. So eventually the case was turned over to the GBI, and the GBI, within a day or so, they arrested Mr. McMichaels and also Mr. Bryant.
We only have a few minutes to go, so I think you're going to have to come back on December the 18th. This is the right month to have you on the show, because this is the end of your term and this is the last month of the year. So my last question to you for this conversation is, the protest, when we first happened, when people first went into the streets, the pandemic was on, but we protested anyway.
Yes, we did. Yes, we protested, and what was good about the community came out to allow people to protest. The hospital brought masks, they brought hand sanitizer, they did a number of things to help people so they're there to protest, and they also brought water. They brought people. It was really a community effort to get people. You want to protest. And it leans into what I say about, if you come here, you want to protest, you can shout as loud as you want to and whisper as softly as you want to, but do it in decent and in order. And let's not tear up the place. Let's do things. Let's find justice without having to fire things up and tear things apart. And so that's what we protest. And they did marches, and they did prayer visuals, and they did a number of things to keep things going. There was an organization called the 223. They had a walk, a 2.23 mile walk. And then there was a young lady, Miss Kim, what's her last name is?
Kim who? Kim.
Yes, I know Ahmad's
Kim.
Well, anyhow, she did a lot of things, and then I guess Ahmad's I can't remember her cousin, his cousin that did some things too. But it was a number of people who were instrumental in getting marches started and prayer visuals. So we did a number of things like that to continue to do things, to keep this at the forefront before the trial. We had to keep people mind on this and don't forget it, because 9 times out of 10, when something happens and you let a time lapse, people tend to forget, and then they don't want to come back and tell what's going on. So we did great.
Yes, we did. And I think that people came together. And then during that protest, then it was also implemented during that time to release Jackie Johnson from her position, and a petition was signed to get attorney DA Keith Higgins in. Theo Wanza Brooks was instrumental.
That's who I was trying to think of.
That.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's who I was trying to think of. Yes. She organized so many things. She organized a bike rally. She organized a car or drive through, whatever, and then a march. So she did a lot of things, you know. But in organizing and getting, we went to the ballot box to unseat Jackie Johnson. Keith Higgins was the only one who was running against Miss Johnson, and he unseated her, which was so good. And also during that time too, it was a presidential election, and we had a lot of things going on there too.
Yes.
And when Georgia became the forefront on a lot of things.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
So
we went from not being known but a little city between Atlanta and Jacksonville to being the #1 place to be, and to be taught how to protest nonviolently. Well, Mayor Harvey, our hour is almost up. Thank you for finally coming to Invitation to a Conversation. We'll pick up where we left off next Saturday at the same time. So you be blessed. Have a blessed weekend. And until the next time, God bless you again. Amen.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And as I would say that it's always good to have a good conversation about your community. And I thank you for allowing me to come in, have a conversation. So thank you so very much. Have a great weekend. God bless you too as well.
Thank you.
Bye.